And welcome back to Sophia by Night. This is our second episode. My name is Bolthra. I'm your storyteller, and I'd like to introduce my players. Let's start off first with RPG Wizard.
I'm Matt. I'm playing Praetor, a Nosferatu.
Alrighty, and let's go to Mr. Synergy 007.
Hello, my name is Eric. I am playing Claudio Perez, a Ventru.
And Onkamov.
I'm Jen, and my character is named Iskra. She's 15 years old and kind of doesn't care about her appearance at all whatsoever anymore, and she is Bruja Clan.
It sounds like she's a Nosferatu wannabe, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
She's just, I was thinking more like teenager that just doesn't care, you know?
A teenage dirtbag? No. Alrighty. Well, let's just kind of do a quick recap from episode 1. Was there really their first night in the city of Sofia? They met with their sires, and then their sires were called to a kind of an urgent meeting without them. So, unfortunately, the characters went to a neonate daycare, or I guess night care, whatever you'd like to call it. That's where they met with Samuel, who's the prince's major domo, his head ghoul, and after that, they found out that there was another new neonate in the city, so they were sent to go search for her. They kind of narrowed it down to what they called the cathedral district of the city, where they did find a young lady standing outside of a church. Iskra had a little problem with the church. She didn't want to go near it for some reason. But Praetor did go over and managed to talk to the girl, brought her back, found out her name was Hildegard. Brought her back to Samuel, who didn't kind of like her answers. Hildegard's answers about kind of where she was from, her sire, that kind of thing, they were kind of changing. She was obviously a little nervous. She's actually a teenager as well as Iskra, so they're kind of a similar disposition. I think Iskra is probably a little more surly than Hildegard is at the moment, but Samuel really wasn't kind of happy with her answers. So what he said was that the following night they would be meeting with the prince, and they'd have to kind of verify her identity. So we're now going to start with the second night. I'm going to have everybody do a rouse check. So Claudio, if you want to do your rouse check. Okay, cool. So you start off the night fresh. I'm going to do the rouse check for Iskra. And I need to turn off that sound effect. Okay, so you're good. You start off the evening fresh.
I like the sound effect. That's great.
I know, but it was on the recording, and I wasn't sure if I should turn it off.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I think I got to figure out how to turn that off. So anyway, so tonight you'll hear the dice rolling again. So, all right, and then for Praetor, we're going to do a rouse check. And he's a little peckish, so he's going to start off the night with 1 hunger. Ominous, yes, I know. Okay. Your nightmare will continue. First, starting with Mr. Praetor. He's risen for the evening, and he's still staying with his sire for right now. He goes to find Terval. Finds him in the same kind of study that he had found him the previous night. When the characters got back to their havens after the first night, their sires were not there yet, so they really haven't talked to their sires since the prior night. But when Praetor comes in, he finds Terval's now still kind of sitting at his desk, but he has sitting on his lap, he has this enormous brown and white striped weasel. It's much bigger than your normal sized mammal, but he's kind of stroking the weasel's back with his long claws, and just kind of Praetor kind of hears this almost purring sound coming from the weasel, and Terval looks
That's not creepy at all.
and Terval kind of just glances up at him. He's like, "Good evening, Praetor."
Good evening, Terval. What is that thing on your lap?
This weasel? Oh, his name is Marty.
And where did you acquire such a beast?
I found him in my travels. He's living near a river. His name is Marty, and he's damn glad to meet you.
That's awful.
We will
And the
give
other
the
two have
reason
no
for that.
idea why.
We will give that we will give the reason for that name a little bit later. But
Later.
anyway, um, so he says this is Marty, and he travels with me. In time, you might have your own accompaniment, your own little friends, if that is of your persuasion.
Can they be of use to people like us?
Oh
I
yes,
mean, what can they do? This is all new to me, as you are well
yeah.
aware. Um,
They can be summoned to serve us, to act as spies. They can infiltrate places that people wouldn't think to look for animals. Now, depending on the intelligence of the animal, it may only be able to answer simple commands, but you would be surprised the information that a spider could gather, or a rat. And they're also good for at attacking as well. You should see people run when a swarm of spiders or ants crawl all over them. It's delicious.
well, that would be. I could see where that could come in handy. Perhaps I should learn some of these animal manipulation skills. I never had a chance in life, but I could see where it might come in handy to do so in our current condition, especially
Tur-
since they can go about during the day where we cannot.
exactly. But I'm told you have servants of your own.
Uh, Not well.
I
I
think
am
you have a
aware
herd,
of.
don't you?
Yeah, I have heard, but mostly
Okay.
it's people I know from my former
Okay.
life, and perhaps I know where to find the right. How shall I say, food?
Ah, so
So I know some. I know
basically,
where.
I
Yeah,
was gonna say a Dark Ages booty call, but so
yeah, right. So yeah, I'm familiar with some of, some of the downtrodden and the poor. Sometimes are of use, um, or at least in this case, if something were to happen to them, well, let's just say it wouldn't be given much credit.
you would be surprised how the downtrodden are often forgotten in this city, and
Well,
how the
yes,
rich pay no attention if a trader or a peddler just happens to be stopped by them who with their innocent looking dog.
yes. And I could see where the rich would even ignore the animals because why would they bother, with a common dog or cat or even insects? Whereas
Exactly.
they might have their falcons or their other birds of prey as their
Yes.
highbrow needs would want.
And
So yes, I could see where that can be very useful.
he kind of does a Mr. Burns excellent with his claws.
Yeah,
So
of course he does.
tonight will be a very important night, Praetor. For tonight you will be presented to the prince. There were complications in the previous evening, though, so the meeting might be shortened than possibly as long as it normally would be. But you don't have anything to worry about. You'll be just fine. You'll be coming with me, but I must remind you to be on your best behavior. This meeting's
Of course.
very important for both of us.
Just like the former, well, when I was in my former life, the Caesars and the senators were always of major importance. So I will equate that with meeting something similar, and
And
thus be on my best behavior and try to behave myself with decorum and etiquette.
do you have some clean clothes you could wear for this evening?
Perhaps we'd have to go through what was moved from our last location. But I'm sure by the time we go through that, but we can find something that would be
Yeah.
presentable. I don't think that. Are we required to reveal our faces? I mean, our current conditions sometimes the prince and, well, others do not care for our general looks, as
We
you are
yes,
sure aware.
we are sometimes called the clan of the hidden, and other times we are called lepers. But it's amazing how often they need our services.
I'm sure. Well, and given our proclivities for, shall we say, nighttime activities, I could see where that would be useful to a certain member of the royalty, as it were.
Yeah.
So yes, I will change into something more suitable for a
Okay.
prince, and as I said, I will pretend as if I am meeting one of the Roman senators.
I am so glad that you've embraced your heritage, and of that I have a present for you.
Oh,
And he gently picks up Marty and places him on the desk, and starts to kind of open up a drawer and starts looking at things. Marty starts growling at you. He's going,
I have no animalism whatsoever. So
he does not seem to
Praetor
like
will
you.
just, Praetor will just ignore him.
So you ignore the fat weasel for now.
Yes,
Okay.
for now.
From the
I am not scared of an animal.
from the desk, Praetor, excuse me, not Praetor, Turval pulls out a looks to be a Roman gladius. I think I'm pronouncing it right.
Yes.
Which is a formal short sword that was
Mhm.
often used by the Praetorian Guard, and it has the handle has a it's you're not quite sure what kind of jewels are in it. It's not quite rubies, but it's very intricate and very fancy. Is I guess the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
The sheath is made of leather with gold stitching, and he
Oh,
presents it to you.
stunning.
And he says all of the Praetorian Guard should be suitably armed.
Thank you. This is incredible. Where did you find this?
It was acquired for certain services that were rendered.
Amazing. And he basically will kind of shut everybody else out while he looks over the sword and says, "Yeah, he's wrapped." He's
And
like,
when you take it out, I mean, it's made of this steel. I mean, it's very shiny. It's not silver or anything, but
No, no, it's good quality metal, and
yeah.
looks like it was worth what?
He says,
How do I say, like, well made?
yes, yes. The craftsmen who made it sadly are no longer with us, but it was acquired for future considerations.
Excellent. And he'll
Right.
begin to belt it on, and um,
Awesome.
yeah, thank you
Okay.
very much,
You're welcome.
Tarvel. This is incredible.
You're welcome, my
This
child.
will
And
this, this will be handy in our future endeavors. Yeah.
as your skills will definitely be put to use by myself and others of the clan, you will be meeting with our clan elder this evening. So we're gonna kind of close the scene on Turvel and Praetor for the moment, and we're gonna go to Ronaldo and Claudio. Uh, Claudio, right now you stayed with Ronaldo down in the basement. And tonight you know how to find his little office. So after you've risen, you rise up and enter the kitchen as you did last time. The ladies are not there cooking this time, though. They seem to have kind of scattered in the evenings now.
Where are the lovely ladies that were here before? They smelled quite ravishing.
Serge, the servant, does appear, and he's like, the ladies, they, I believe they may be doing wash right now in another section of the house, sir. I apologize for their disappearance."
Well, it would be nice to have something good to look at when I wake up in this time of day.
I am not pleasing to you, sir.
Hmm. You have this appearance about you, which is maybe to some people, but as of right now, no.
And he kind of sighs, like he's kind of disappointed. He's like, "Well, very well. I will take you to the master," and leads you over to Ronaldo's office. And he's sitting behind his desk as you kind of found him the previous night. And he's like, "Claudio, it's about time you got up. Please come in. We have things to talk about."
I don't understand why I need to be dealing with waking up at this time of hour. I was very enjoying my sleep.
He's like, "Well, you must learn to be more disciplined, my friend.
Mm.
Now on to business. Before we discuss our meeting with the prince, what are your plans for establishing your business here in Sofia?"
Well, as seeing that and Claudio should know kind of some places
Mhm.
around the area. He
Yeah.
should have had something established already.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but as of right now, he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to give kind of Ronaldo what he thinks of him at the moment. He's just kind
Okay.
of playing the role, if you know what I mean.
Gotcha. Okay.
But as of right now, I shall be looking for more clientele, with a mortal man or mortal woman.
Could you please make a let's see, let's make a subterfuge and wits roll, and your difficulty is going to be 3.
Subterfuge and rich roll.
Yeah, what you do is you click next the little plus next to subterfuge, and then you can then you double click on the wits, the black wits dot, and it'll combine them for your dice pool.
Okay, so the plus on the subterfuge and then the dice roll. Okay.
Yes, yeah. I think it'll do it either way, but I've tended to go from like the skills to the okay, good. Awesome. Okay. All right, Ronaldo just kind of scratches his chin and he's like, "All right, we will discuss that later. I have some plans for what I'd like you to do."
Well, whatever you need for me in accordance of what you desire, I will definitely do my best to complete.
There's been a shift of power, shall we say, in recent nights, and my plans lean towards establishing more power for our clan. The goal for myself is to seek more influence within the church. While you seem to be more of a merchant, shall we say?
You can say that.
Have you interest in not joining the clergy, obviously, but possibly having clientele from the established church?
Well, if it means I get to convert some nuns into what I like to call personal dispensaries, I have no problem with that, if that's what you require of me.
You will find that there are certain individuals in our city who have unique tastes, and someone from the nunnery might be of someone's appeal. Let us talk of that again later.
Understand.
Is there anything you need of me for this evening? We are going to meet with the prince. Do you have something decent to wear?
Oh, I always have something decent to wear. You definitely helped me out last time, and I've continued with that service.
Okay.
So yes, he does.
Do you have any idea what he would like to wear for this evening?
Black. All black. Anything that has, something formal, long coattails, really long coattails, but he has to have something like a jacket with a good collar. He likes that good collar.
He's like to pop the collar.
Yeah, he loves to pop the collar. And good quality shoes, I think.
Good quality shoes.
That's right. But he also likes to wear gloves. So just so you know. So all black attire, gloves. Just, it works great with him.
And did I possibly just pause the screen? Let me just make sure. I think I might have. Let's see. Okay. All right. All right. He seems satisfied with that. He's going to. You'll be leaving to meet with the prince soon, and we are going to switch over to Iskra and Patia. You also rise from the same bedroom that you were in the previous night. When you come out, you kind of have a feeling maybe where you could find Patia. But when you actually come down the stairs, she's already up. She's not in her Roman bath.
Oh, like
And
last time.
you're right.
Okay.
And she is sitting up on a chair with her legs like kind of just she's like totally folded in with her head down. Her hair's hiding her face.
Hi. I'm awake now. You
She
okay?
she just kind of glances up, and you see she kind of wipes like a bloody tear away from her face.
What happened?
She's not there. I couldn't find her. She was supposed to be there last night.
Find who?
Katerina. That's her sire. So she kind of snaps at you like you should know this.
Oh. That doesn't sound good.
She was supposed to be there. And she kind of brushes the hair away from her face. She wasn't there last night, but I'm hoping she's there tonight. You've never seen Patia act even anxious at all. She's always been very confident, very not bold, but very positive. This almost seems like a total mood swing. I mean, she's just down.
She'll probably be there tonight. I mean, it's a big deal, right?
Too many of our kind go missing in this city. Too many of our clan go missing in this city.
Well, maybe we can do something about that.
We're gonna have to, because we can't take this shit anymore.
Sounds good to me. But, maybe
Very well.
after the big party thing, because I've never been to a party like what I think this will be, and I have no idea what I'm doing.
She kind of stands up, kind of wiping the tears away. I have someone who can make sure that you're the belle of the ball, because the Bruja need to be recognized. And she
Okay.
claps her hands, and a servant appears. She says, "Take her away, bathe her, and dress her for the evening." And yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And takes you down to down the stairs, down to the bath.
Okay. Maybe you can do something with my hair, because like I can never get it to do anything.
So the servant kind of bathes you slowly, and kind of does your washes your hair, and you hear coming down from the stairs. The doorway is open, and you hear Patia crying again. She's just weeping. And the servant says, I've only seen her like this once.
Yeah, she's real upset.
Yeah. They're very close.
Yeah. I think she was trying to explain the other night that like that's her sire, so
yes,
kind of, yeah, that's a big deal.
And the servant starts to say something and kind of bites her lip.
You were saying?
It's not my place.
Okay.
Okay. Well, within, we'll say, an hour, you were all gussied up in your super fashions for the year 1200.
And totally uncomfortable.
Exactly. All this itches. So
yeah,
it's what she's given her option of a color of a gown to wear. What would she pick?
Blue.
Blue? Okay. And they give her, they comb her hair out, and they don't quite give her a tiara, but they give her a, kind of a formal looking little headpiece thing or something.
Okay.
And they say you're getting ready to go out on the town with your sire. So anything anyone would like to do first before they leave for the evening with their sire?
I don't know.
How long is the time in which I talk to my sire and this, we get ready and everything?
Probably about an hour, hour and a half at most. So.
Yeah, okay, that's not long enough. Okay, that's nothing really. I'll just get ready and
Okay. Okay.
I'm probably trying to learn how to walk in these shoes.
and luckily there's still enough snow on the ground, so if there's a you're hopefully not going to lose your footing too much, but you do ride in a carriage, and you arrive at kind of a low grade looking tavern of sorts. It's in kind of a merchant part of the town. Probably not a place that, Iskra normally wouldn't be seen because she's a child. And
Right.
Turval and, Praetor and Claudio, probably Claudio would probably pick up some of his employees at places like this. But at the moment, looks like it's closed. But servants open the door for you as you arrive, and you find that the tavern is closed. But at the kind of the far end, there's a doorway where you recognize a gentleman named Samuel that you met the previous evening. He's standing with a parchment and a pen. Again, looking like the equivalent of the iPhone checking his messages, and he glances at as the six of you arrive. Oh, good, the children have arrived.
Hello, Samuel. Very wonderful to meet you and have you grace our company again. I have an inner feeling of arousal around me. You can take that as you will.
He kind of raises an eyebrow and he's like, very well. And he opens up the door, and you see that there's actually a staircase leading down. And he kind of just opens like a open palm towards the door. He's like, after you.
Praetor doesn't hesitate, just heads down the stairs.
Okay.
Claudio bows his head and continues walking.
And Iskra?
Iskra's going to take off these shoes before trying stairs. Just carry them, put them back on at the end.
Okay. You find that the staircase leads down to what looks like a tunnel of some sort. Something's just been kind of built into the earth. It was really just cut through the earth. There are support beams holding it up. The first thing you notice when you get down there is the smell of urine and vermin kinds of things. Luckily, it's winter, so it's not quite as bad. But if you've ever been near a sewer, this is probably the closest smell you'd get to it. They didn't really have sewers at this time, but this is something that has been cut through the earth. A servant carries a lantern that kind of beckons for you to follow them.
Praetor will take the lead.
Okay.
Yes, he's not afraid. He
The,
should be, but he's not.
the tunnel seems to kind of wrap around. At times you kind of think like, hey, aren't we kind of going back the way we came? But the servant just kind of continues moving through. At some point, the smell does get slightly better, and then it actually starts to lead upwards. You can kind of feel it. It's kind of sloping upwards, and then you do come to another doorway. With at the very top, there's a thick metal door where the servant walks up and then and knocks on the door, and then you hear. I couldn't resist. Sorry. The door opens slowly, and who's going to get through the door first? Praetor.
He's in front.
Yeah.
He's in front. Okay, just making sure. Okay, you step into a ballroom. and it is lit with all kinds of bright colors, banners in purple, blue, green, kind of all over the place, almost rainbow colors, in fact. There's lanterns in all of the corners, and you see about 6 tables set around the room, and there's probably about 15 to 20 people in the room. And you also notice servants carrying trays, kind of slipping through the crowd. The people all seem to be in their own different groups. It's not quite like high school, but they all too kind of seem like they've kind of slipped into their own cliques. As you step into the room, you see that Samuel has approached and has actually followed you up. He kind of brushes dirt off his robes and kind of sniffles a little bit. He says, "If you'll excuse me, I have other business to take care of." Ronaldo just kind of chuckles. He says, "It's almost pitiful watching Samuel scurry around tending to canine business. It's almost pitiful."
And look at those shoes. Just not even
They're awful.
Adherence. Awful.
Turvel kind of says, "Well, there are so few people that the prince still trusts. I mean, with Petrov leaving and Urbskia, being missing, who can say what'll happen next?"
People missing, sire?
Yes, they seem to, since the end of the war, there's been disappearances. The latest was Bishop Petrov. He was of the La Sombra clan, and actually was the seneschal to the prince himself. But he hasn't been seen in several nights. In fact, the La Sombra in general seem to have just disappeared into the shadows that they seem to be consumed of.
Or at least concerned with. Forgive me, but I thought that Samuel was the seneschal.
No, he's just merely filling the role right now. He's just a ghoul.
Okay.
But he's been assigned the task. He is the prince's.
If he performs adequately,
He does.
He will be elevated to our level.
Oh, who can say? Who can say? The prince is delicate with whom he would embrace, and I don't think he ever actually has embraced anyone. But he did allow the clans that suffered the most during the war. Our clans, the Nosferatu, the Bruja, and the Ventru, suffered the most losses, so he has allowed the embrace to be given to essentially pay back the loyalty of those clans.
Interesting. And what clan is the prince of?
He just sighs. He is
Forbidden to ask?
No, he is Malkavian.
This is bad in some way?
They're
aside from
Claudio shakes his head.
They are known as the Clan of the Moon. They are.
So they're associated with the wolves, or
they are. They are inflicted with madness.
Well, in a way, we all are, but that's not necessarily, how shall I say, malicious in any way, or malevolent.
You shall see. And within a moment, you hear a trio of violinists begin playing. We begin playing some soft, you want to say background music, party music, whatever you'd like to call it. A servant comes up to your group with a tray, offers a goblet to Iskra.
Okay, I pick it up.
And it's
sniff it.
warm blood.
Okay. I'm gonna have a sip of that and hand it to my sire.
She just kind of downs like half of it. She's hasn't said much since you've left. You actually notice her eyes are kind of still looking around, going.
Mm-hmm.
And she's getting a little agitated.
I pick up a second glass and give it to my sire, hoping it will improve her mood.
She just kind of waves you away, and she's like, no more.
Okay, I'll take it back.
Turville kind of shuffles over to Claudio. He says, "Mr. Perez, I must ask you just a general question, sir. How are your supplies sourced? Are they locally, or do you import them?"
No, they are all locally. We are based here in Sofia. So anything that I need, I get from my sire.
And he kind of glances over at Ronaldo. I didn't think Ronaldo dealt in such trade.
Well, you'd be surprised what kind of trade he deals in.
He kind of just, and he kind of shuffles away from you, and Ronaldo walks up to Praetor. He says, "Is it true what they say about you?"
That would depend on what they say.
"I've heard you're older."
Yes, I was embraced long ago. Turville graciously, or conveniently, or luckily, however you wish to pause it, found me staked in a shallow grave off in the mountains. I have been supposedly, or at least I believe, long ago in the Roman Empire, when Caesars were still in charge, I was a member of the guard that guarded his person on occasion. In fact, I do remember a time here and there, or do I? It was so long ago and so faded that it is difficult to recall many of the details. Forgive me, but yes, I am old, as you say.
He kind of leans in and kind of whispers in your ear. He's like, "It's convenient how I just found you."
I call it luck. Yeah, I don't consider it much.
Well,
it was given that I would be hidden away when I was needed again, and perhaps Turville found this information. So I was awakened, and although I don't necessarily agree that this is the time for me, it works for now, at least such until a time where maybe I am needed.
I often have need of people of your certain set of skills.
Perhaps I can be of use to you. I am not above working for the right fee. So long as it doesn't, how shall I say, go against the needs of I call him my sire because that is, as I understand, the appropriate nomenclature. But yes, if so long as your needs do not cross purposes with my own benefactor, then yes, I could be of service to you, perhaps.
He kind of looks away and kind of says, "Is there any kind of work you find distasteful?"
Probably not.
That's the right answer.
It depends on what needs being done, but I have no moral quandary about services rendered.
He kind of just pats you on the shoulder and steps back. He's like,
my only condition is that I will not violate my own code of honor.
Oh, of course. No one would ever ask you to go against your instincts.
He gives him kind of a squirrely look, like, okay, yeah, right.
he just kind of winks at you and kind of steps away.
Yeah.
Claudio overhears this and keeps it in his memory.
All right, I got to duck out, guys. It's getting close to time to leave.
All right. Thanks.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye.
I'll talk to you. Okay. after you've had a couple drinks, you've kind of noticed that most of the others in the room aren't really coming over to you. They're kind of standoffish. They're kind of just standing kind of watching you. So Turval just kind of takes it upon himself to kind of gather up the children and is going to go around introducing people. Turval's a bit of an ass kisser, if you hadn't noticed, and has and takes the three neonates along with him, and he says, "I want to introduce you to the remaining elders. Sadly, at the moment we only have the three." He kind of says under his breath, but let me introduce you anyway. The first person he takes you to is a thin woman in heavy black robes. The only thing you can see of her is her hands and her face. Her face is really super pale. If you didn't know any better, you would think it was a porcelain mask. But there's just no marks on it. And she really is beautiful, but insanely pale. You just haven't seen anything like this before. And Turval bows at her and kind of just looks up, really just kind of like with admiration at her. And he said, "May I introduce Raya Bogdanova Marvia, the elder of Clan Nosferatu."
Eric is taken aback by the beauty of the elder of the Clan Nosferatu. He is very, very. He knows what they look like. This is not the normal Nosferatu look.
Make a. Let's see, what would be the best thing? Make a wits and investigation roll. It is going to be at difficulty 4.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do this one. Okay.
Hey,
there you go.
All righty. You notice just kind of as she turned, with her kind of thin form, but around her waist was a little bit bigger than the rest of her. And you also noticed just at the top of her forehead, you saw some kind of real scraggly blonde hairs, like really just kind of dead looking hairs.
Gotcha.
And she actually almost seems to notice you doing it, and you see her just kind of pull her hood down a little bit tighter to kind of hide those real frail hairs.
Gotcha. Okay.
She says, "And you are?"
I am Claudio Perez. I am the child of Ronaldo. However, I have been here for a long time, and I would love to have a relationship in a business way with as many of the elders as possible, only to your benefit, of course. He bows, curtsies, and says, "The pleasure is mine."
Of course. And she just kind of turns her gaze over to Iskra.
I'm Iskra, child of Patia Bruja clan, and I attempt to do a clumsy little curtsy because I don't know what I'm doing.
And she just kind of smiles at that. She says, "Welcome." And then she is going to meet with Praetor. Turval, and this is my child, the Praetor. He's kind of stuttering, kind of getting all over himself because he's so excited to like tell her, "This is Praetor, the one I was telling you about, my child, and he's going to be such a huge influence to the clan." And she,
Right.
And she just kind of dismisses Turville with just kind of like turns her shoulder, and he's kind of like, okay, well, I will speak with you again later, ma'am. The next person standing next to her is he's kind of an older looking man. He appears to be about his late 30s, but really not in peak physical condition. Kind of a receding hairline. And you see when he turns, he has kind of a limp in his right leg. And Turville says, allow me to introduce Pavel Borisov Dachev. He is the clan elder of the Ventru.
The pleasure is mine. Hello, sir. I am Claudio.
Claudio. You're local, aren't you?
I am. I know your name from somewhere, but it'll come to me. I appreciate you allowing me to grace myself, with your presence. It's amazing. It's humbling, and I appreciate it very much.
You seem to think you remember that last name is kind of a powerful name in this area, but you can't quite remember why. But you know that name from somewhere.
Yep.
And he just kind of turns at Iskra, and he's like, well met, young ma'am.
Hi, I'm Iskra. I'm the child of Patia, and I try to do the little curtsy thing again because it worked before.
And
Claudio holds her a little bit so she doesn't stumble.
And I whisper, thank you, it's these shoes.
And Pavel kind of glances over your head and kind of looks over at Patia, and they just kind of share a moment. And if you turn around real quick, Iskra, you'll see that Patia is not happy about this. She's even more anxious, but now she's just kind of glaring at Pavel.
Okay.
And then a third person who has his back turned to you turns around, and he is a youngish man, but he's dressed in not quite military gear, but he does have kind of a formal look to him, and he's wearing a tabard that has a large red cross on it.
Great. A cross.
And he kind of has a kind of fading blonde hair, and he's like, "Don't be afraid, my child." And he actually puts out a hand to you. He says, "My name is Alexander."
I take his hand. I'm Iskra, and I'm like avoiding looking at the cross. I'm a child of Patia.
Ah, Patia. And he kind of shakes your forearm like real tight, and he says, and Turville goes, "This is Alexander Bogomilov," I'm butchering these names, Adamov, the elder of the clan Toreador.
It's nice to meet you.
And he meets Praetor, and then he kind of looks over at Claudio with kind of a look of distaste.
Claudio also looks at him with distaste.
They kind of just share a moment, kind of like,
Claudio puts his hand out, but doesn't say anything.
Alexander shakes his hand, but real kind of like, yeah, not quite a slap, not quite a fist bump, but it's real fast.
That's correct. It's there. I'm doing it out of respect for Ronaldo.
Yeah. So Ronaldo just kind of, thanks them, and you guys kind of shuffle away from them, and you kind of get back with your sires. Patia kind of pulls Iskra close to her. Says, "Don't trust that one. He's Ventru."
Okay.
There's too few of us to begin with.
Right. Exactly.
I don't know if she's coming. I don't know what's going on.
Well, if she doesn't arrive, maybe we can look for her after this. I just kind of gestured all of this fancy around her.
And You do notice now that someone new has arrived from the door you came in. You recognize her from previous nights, Hildegard, the other neonate.
Oh.
They have kind of gussied her up as well. Hair's all neatly combed, and she looks like a little princess coming in. She walks in with Samuel. There is no one with her,
Oh.
and she seems very nervous.
I'm gonna wave at her.
And she kind of waves and smiles, and she's like, "Oh, I know her."
Yeah.
So she kind of wanders over to you guys and kind of leaves Samuel in the dust. And she's like, "Good evening. It was Iskra."
Yes. Yes. Where's your sire?
He's not coming.
What happened to him?
And she kind of tries to like pull you away from everyone. Kind of everyone kind of watches you guys kind of step away. He's not here.
Well, I can tell that.
Can I trust you with this? And she says very whisper.
Okay.
He's not here. He's in Hamburg, where I'm from.
Why didn't he come here? Wasn't it known that he should be here?
I was sent on my own. I was not part of the new people that they've embraced. I didn't know of that. I just bad timing, I guess. But I've come on my own.
Okay. I barely know what I'm doing here, so I don't know what you should do now.
I don't know either. And then the music stops, and everyone turns.
Uh-oh.
And then you hear just one violin start playing, and Samuel kind of walks over to another door and says, "Everyone, may I introduce Sergei Borgoslav, the Prince of Sofia." And through the door comes a man, looks like his mid-30s, kind of a close cropped beard. I have a picture for you guys I want to show, but for some reason it stops OBS when I do that, so I'll show it to you guys after
later.
that. In struts a man dressed in purple and gold and red robes, rings on all his fingers, has a huge grin on his face, and he struts in like a peacock, going around, shaking hands. "Hey, good to see you. How are you?" Wide-eyed, just goes around the room. The servants kind of just get out of his way, and it's almost like they're playing his theme, like in baseball. You think like his walk-on music, you know, like basically they're playing his walk-on music as he's coming to the plate. So he kind of stops in the middle and he's like, "Welcome, everyone. I'm so glad you could make it here. It's not all of us, but it's the most important of us. And we're here to celebrate a time of peace. The war is over. Hooray!" And no one cheers. He's like, "The war is over." He says it again, and then you get some light applause. That's much better. Now, it's the time of a new age. Spring will be here soon. And what better way to celebrate spring but with new blood, shall we say? And he kind of takes a step forward. He's like, "I'm told there are 4. Who are the 4? Turvel kind of starts pushing you guys. He kind of grabs you, kind of grabs Iskra, kind of pulls Iskra away and starts pushing the four neonates, including Hildegard, towards the princess. "I don't bite. Come closer." Who walks forward first?
I'll walk forward first.
You must be. The name slips my tongue. You're the Oh, go ahead and say it, say it, say it.
Claudio Perez at your service.
Claudio Perez. He kind of peers at you. He kind of steps forward and he goes, "They didn't send you, did they?"
I don't know who they are. However, if they are on your good side, then yes, they did.
No, they're not on my good side. He steps back. But I like you anyway. Welcome to my city. And what clan do you represent?
Ah, yes, Clan Ventru is what I am from.
Ah, they have been loyal servants of the crown. And it's a shame that there's so few of people who are loyal still in my city. But you, I can trust. You, I like.
If loyalty pays the bills, then we are all good.
And it's good to say that the Ventru are part of the Council of Dust. He chuckles. That's the name I've given them because they're old and there's so few left. Don't tell them I called them that, though. They get upset. And obviously they're in the room and they can hear him, but he just kind of says that to you conspiratorially.
Well, I would like to look at him. I'm gonna look at the prince very, but very, not still not like hard, but just with his face, and then I'll bow, and then I'll like, I am humbly in you humble me with your presence, and they walk away.
He just kind of nods at you, and he's kind of pointing. He's like, I like this guy. I like him. And he kind of he's like, you know what we need? Musicians. We need music. And all of a sudden, the remaining violinists hop up and they just start playing away. He's like, I love background music when it's an important occasion. You just can't get enough good help these days. All right, who's next?
Hi, I'm Iskra. From Clan Bruja.
Bruja.
I'm staring at him like I'm terrified.
You should be. he's kind of looking you over like you're just a child. Who did this to you? Which one of these did this to a child?
I'm 15 in my village. That's almost an adult, or was.
He says, did Katerina do this to you? And you hear a gasp from behind you from Patia. He's like, where is Katerina these days? She's not here, cries Patia. What's happened to her? I demand to know. And there's gasps of, how dare someone speak out of turn like this. Katerina goes, I don't give a crap. I need to know where my sire is. And the prince is kind of shrugs. He goes, I don't know. I haven't seen her around. But that kind of thing seems to happen these days. It's kind of funny how that happens. Hey, Pavel, did the Venture know what happened? And he just kind of goes, no, of course not. We have no idea why she's no longer here. And the prince says, well, I mean, the Lasambra disappeared. The Bruja seem to be disappearing. Maybe I ought to have somebody look into that. Hey, Samuel, write down a note. I got to have somebody go look up kind of why all these people are going missing in my kingdom. Because we should be growing, not losing numbers, right? Samuel just kind of nods, like kind of making his little notes. I'll do that. And then the prince looks back at Patia and says, we'll find her. Just be calm. We'll find her. And then he kind of dismisses Iskra.
Okay, I will go stand by Claudio because I don't know anybody else.
Praetor comes forward. He introduces himself as Clan Nosferatu, and Prince seems very pleased with that. He's like, they've always been a loyal clan to my my royalty. Am I royalty? Hey, Samuel, am I royalty? Oh, of course, sir. Yes, you are. Ah, good. Okay. I wasn't sure if I was a king. I'm a prince, I know, but I wasn't sure if I was a king. I don't know if I have a royal family, though. I've never really looked it up. That's something I need to look up. Samuel, take a note. Find out if I'm royalty. Yes, sir. Very much. So after he talks with Praetor, the prince goes, okay, so which one was the angel? Which one of you is the angel?
I think that's me.
You're the angel. Okay. And then there's the merchant. Although Samuel said there was some other name he had for him. Which one of you was the merchant again? And Samuel kind of clears his throat and goes, it would be Mr. Perez.
Oh. I wouldn't consider myself a merchant, more of a connoisseur of libations for the body and mind.
Okay, very well. I heard something about you. And he kind of takes a step towards Clay again. He goes, I've heard that you run an exporting business. Is that true?
You could say that.
I'm throwing a party in a couple weeks, and normally somebody of your rank wouldn't be invited. No offense, but we just normally don't have the kids at these kind of parties.
None taken.
But I might need your services.
Sure.
Samuel, take a note to talk to Mr. Perez here again about arranging some party favors.
You know, my speciality is of the mortal kind.
Oh, that's what I have in mind. He winks at you. Good talk. Just kind of pats you on the shoulder and takes a step back. And then I'm told there's one more. And he kind of glances over at Hildegard. But this one is an interloper. She wasn't invited to the party. But yet, here she is. Come forward, child. She just kind of creeps forward her on her own and bows. So, Hildegard, I'm told it is. You show up by yourself on your own with no one to sponsor you. What am I supposed to think? Samuel, what am I supposed to think about this? And Samuel says, whatever you like, sire. Whatever you choose to do with this unannounced child. And she says, well, my arrival was announced. A letter was sent by my sire and signed by the Prince of Hamburg himself. And Sergei kind of just tilts his head and goes, did we get a letter, Samuel? Looks over at Samuel. Yes, there was. And it does appear to be legitimate, sir. Well, I still don't know what to do with this child. Seems like she's gonna need some kind of proper introduction. Well, what clan are you, child? She says, well, my sire was Bertrand of Hamburg, and I am of Clan Ventru. That is next when you hear Patia absolutely lose her shit and starts yelling.
Oh, no.
What's going on here? Now there's only... I can't find my sire. There's only 3 of us now of Clan Bruja, but now the Ventru get 2 new children. This is wrong. There's something going on. You're trying to marginalize us. You are trying to kill us all. I won't stand for this.
I'm going to walk over to her and be ready to do whatever.
Claudio walks toward Hildebrand to guard if need be.
But Tia is just storm, and she actually just shoves Iskra off her and storms out,
Okay.
leaving her by herself in this room full of predators.
I'm gonna walk over to Praetor and smile.
Praetor just kind of steps a little closer to you, just kind of like, all right, I gotcha. Sergei says, well, that was unexpected. That was kind of rude, in fact. Well, let's go back to the matter at hand, I guess. So we've got this child who's unannounced. She says she's from Clan Vendrew of Hamburg. I mean, we're obviously going to have to check it out. It'll take a little while. But in the meantime, I can't just have you walk in the streets. Just, I don't know who you are. Is there anyone who would speak for this child?
If I may, Claudio puts his hand up. Mm-hmm. He goes over to Ronaldo. He says, Ronaldo.
Yes.
As they try and figure out exactly what to do with Hildebrand, I request that she be put under our care for now.
And he kind of shrugs like, you sure you want that responsibility?
I think as Clan Vendrew, we should definitely take care of our own, even ones that may be. He looks over at the prince, abandoned, and then looks back at Ronaldo. I think if we allow her to stay with us, we might curry favor with the other clan that she comes from, and maybe there might be some beneficial accompaniments that go along the way.
Ronaldo's all right. She's yours, and he kind of looks over at Pavel to kind of make sure it's all right with him, and Pavel shrugs. So it seems like it's approved. The prince says, all right, then she has a sponsor then in the city. It might even be beneficial to you to possibly just form a coterie. I can always say that word. For your own, for your own mutual tranquility. If you're going to take in the foundling, then she is your duty, shall we say.
Understand.
Now, let's party. And the music starts playing louder. He grabs a goblet and just downs it in one bite. And he says, let the festival begin. And from the doorway he came in are dragged in 3 people. They look like farmer folk. I mean, they're very, strong looking people, and they're dragged in chains and are brought to the middle of the room. He says, you see, I brought my own party favors, Claudio, but I'm interested to seeing what you can provide for us. And at that, the group in the other party goers, some go over to partake of the people in chains, but most of them seem to kind of stay away from them, kind of keeping to their own. And Turval and Ronaldo seem to be kind of still in charge of you guys. He says, well, Turval says, what do you plan to do now? You're your own people in this city.
Let's see. I guess we have to establish kind of a haven.
Mm-hmm.
We have to work on the haven, if you will. Mm-hmm. But I think Claudio would like to work on the haven and get his inventory stocked, if you will, using his abilities. But he also wants to be able to take Hildebrand in right now into the haven, so she can kind of help Claudio out with the inventory.
And Ronaldo kind of like, you're going to have this child in your den of iniquity?
I don't see any other way to do it, and education starts early, especially in one of how I would like to do things.
And she's kind of like, okay, and kind of looks at Iskra, kind of like, help me.
I kind of shrug, like I
got problems of my own.
I can do.
I got problems of my own, sister.
I've already met him. I know what he's like. There's nothing I can do.
Okay. Well, I think this is probably then a good place to wrap up for the game.
Good stuff.
So I want to thank my players. You will get 3 experience points for this game. And we will go ahead and wrap up. So thanks, everyone, for listening.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.